Welcome back to MonsterTamer, a 2D Pokemon-like RPG created Phaser 3. Previously, we wrapped up our feature for our in-game events and cutscenes. If you missed the previous videos, there'll be links in the video description to the source code up to this point, as well as complete source code for this video. There'll also be a link to the previous videos if you'd like to catch up. So let's get started. The next feature for our game we're going to work on adding in full screen support for our game. For this, we'll use Phaser's built-in functionality to allow us to make our game full screen, and under the hood, this uses the Fullscreen API that's available in our browser. This API allows us to choose a specific element on our web page and its descendants, and then if our full screen mode is enabled, it's going to take up the full size of our screen. As an example for our Phaser game, if our canvas element is our element we're targeting, we'll see now our canvas stretches to fill up your whole browser window when we enable our full screen functionality. So for our game, we'll be adding in support for if the player presses the F key, it will make our game full screen, and then if they press the key again, it'll shrink it back down to the original size. And so with that core functionality, you could then extend this by adding in things like a full screen button in your game that a player could click on to maximize their game. And so to start working on this new feature, let's jump over to our code. And so to add full screen support to our Phaser game, all we need to do is call a few methods on our Phaser scale manager. So on our scale manager, there's this start full screen and a stop full screen method. When we invoke this method, Phaser internally is going to call the full screen API, and it's going to make our canvas full screen. Likewise, we can then call stop full screen, and then this will revert that change. And so to add this functionality to our game, we just need some type of trigger for this. For this, we'll use our keyboard event to launch our game into full screen. So to add in this support, we'll want to open up our controls. And so if we go into our controls.js file, let's add a new key to our class. So I'm going to copy this here. Let's add in for our keyboard key, we're going to do the F key. Now down in our constructor, we'll want to set up that key. So let's copy this. We'll paste that. We'll do this.f key will be equal to our scene, our input, our keyboard. We'll do add key. And now for our key codes, we just want to do the letter F. And so now we just need to add in a method for checking to see if that key was pressed. So after our was back key was pressed, let's copy this logic. We'll paste that. We'll do was F key pressed. And now we just need to update our references. So instead of doing cursor keys, we want to do our F key. So if it's undefined, we'll return false. Otherwise, we'll do Phaser input keyboard just down. And now let's do this, and we'll do our F key. So now that we've updated our controls, now we need to add this check to one of our Phaser scenes. And so for our game, we'll want to be able to start and stop our full screen from any of our Phaser scenes. To do that, we'll add this logic to our base scene. So let's open up our base scene class. So now for this logic, we'll want to do this in our update method. So let's come down to update. First, we're going to add a safeguard to make sure our controls are actually created. And if they're not, we'll return early. So let's do if this.controls is equal to undefined. That means that we're not set up yet, so we just want to return. All right, so if our controls are defined, now we just want to see if our F key was actually pressed. If our F key was not pressed, we can just return early. And so we'll do if not this, our controls was F key pressed. So if our key was not pressed, we'll just return early. If our key was pressed, now we can reference our methods on our scale manager. So we'll do this.scale. Let's do start full screen. Now if we save, all right, so if we come back to our browser to show the test, so if we press our F key, this should launch our game into full screen. So now we'll need to add in logic for if we press our key again, we want to stop full screen. To do that, we just need to check to see if our game is already in full screen. And so we'll just do if this.scale.is full screen, then we'll want to call stop full screen. So I'm just going to copy this, we'll paste it, and we'll do stop full screen, and we'll return so we don't call our full screen again. All right, so now back in our browser, if we press our F key, we launch into our full screen, and if we toggle it again, it turns off full screen. Nice. All right, so with those few lines of code, we now support full screen in our game. And with that, that brings this video to an end. So as a reminder, there is a link in the description of the video to complete source code for this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did enjoy the video, please consider liking the video and hitting the bell icon to be notified when the next video in the series is released. For more great Phaser 3 content, please see the links on your screen now.